Greetings, 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 everyone out there in the world system. Because of Mark Zuckerberg, we have the wonderful opportunity to come to you live on Facebook. And so we are taking our time to give you time to come join us. For those who do not know who I am, my name is Dr. Lakita, and I'm excited to come this morning for a wonderful opportunity to talk about uncomfortable conversations. Our conversation that we're going to have was sparked and started by Miss Amy Grinsale. Absolute, wonderful. And I think it's lovely. She had reached out on Facebook, and we have mutual friends. So my friend tagged me, and she said, hey, these were her words: I'm a white woman that's privileged. I have 3 children. I'm a wife, and I want to have an uncomfortable conversation. And that was my kind of sister girl that I wanted to talk to. I was like, you want to have it? I want to have it with you. And so I had reached out. Unbeknownst to us, my dear, great, awesome friend and sister in the gospel, who is truly a kingdom connector, Minister Denise Stephanie, who's also the director of Behind the Mask Ministries, who does incredible work in allowing us to see the lives of the broken now that they have been set free. She reminds us that we've all been in a broken place, and now it's time to do something awesome. And so Minister Denise, being who she was, she saw it herself, not knowing that we had already been in contact. And she said, you ought to talk to Dr. Keith. She says, I already was in touch with her. And so we know that it's a God-given opportunity. For those that are chiming in, this conversation comes about because of the recent murder and death of Mr. George Floyd, who we all are acquainted with, that happened just about 3.5 weeks ago, 46 years old, in which the whole world became unraveled when we saw a cop put the knee to the neck, and literally we saw a man lose his life. And so out of that, so many things have happened, protests all over the world. But with the protests have also been a lot of non-progress, if you will, around the conversation of what do we do now and where do we go from here. Dr. Martin Luther King stated that in order for a people to be great, we must go from from chaos to community, which is also the name of his book. And I believe that we're in a state of chaos. I don't care, even though I have a great peace, which I think just comes from God, but there is a lot going on. My phone is ringing off the hook, from CEOs to those who are lower. People are stressed and people are exhausted. I literally took 2 mental health days, and I don't think I've ever had to, because I kind of try to do self-care well, but it just was too much. So we're going to get started. We want to make sure all of you guys are on live. So go ahead and chime in to make sure that you're on, and we want to make sure that everybody gets it, and that it is happening. Make sure your people are able to get on. Absolutely, they are on. Yes, they are. Okay. So they are on, and so we're going to have some help. There will be questions and answers. Some stuff will be raw. We're not intending to be kosher, if you will. We want to heal, and you can't heal if everything is everything. We've got to tell the truth in love and walk it out. So I've introduced myself. We're going to have the ladies to just introduce themselves and then go from there.
I'm Minister Denise, and I'm the founder and director of Behind the Mask Ministry. It's a ministry of healing. It's a ministry of coming from behind the mask with your challenges, with your struggles. And what I do is I give people a platform to come and share their testimonies. Whatever your struggle is, whatever your challenge is, I always let you know that there's no place that you can go that God can't bring you out of. So that's my entire ministry. It's a ministry just to let people know that whatever your challenge or your struggle is, that God is able.
My name is Amy, and I am a wife, I'm a mother, and I live in a small community of Martinez, Bay Area, and I'm nervous, first of all. I'm very nervous to just speak and just be uncomfortable, but I think just being surrounded around people who look different than you is so important right now, to learn, to listen, to grow. And that's all. I am just one voice. And I believe that my one voice funny, so much you can do over social media or even just talking to your family. Like I just wanted to I was taught to talk when there's problems and when there's these issues that I know nothing about because I'm not Black. I wanted to raise that awareness. And I'm so grateful that this has led to bringing you both and other people that want to share their story and enlighten us to have compassion and have love and come out of love and to be able to connect and bring that into our household and really, accept people for who they are and not by what they look like.
Well, and we're just going to have a dialogue. This is, Jada Pinkett Smith has red table and we got purple table. All right. So, listen, we going to do it my kind of style. We going to, hey, we're not trying to get famous, but if there's somebody out there that just wants us three to come and do something else, we game. Okay. My name is Dr. Lakita. This is Amy and this is Minister Denise. We go anywhere. Okay. And we'll be uncomfortable until you don't want us to be uncomfortable. Right. So there's a bunch of people. So shout out to all of you guys. You guys are getting on. Share the video. We want it to be educational and informational. So I've done a couple things, and I've got a couple things that will kind of get us jump started about different types of things that have gone on. And then we're just chiming in. Amy has some things, and we just want to just have a dialogue between folks that we didn't know were our friends to now that they are our friends. We just want to have a dialogue, and you get a chance to kind of ear hustle on our conversation with the Purple Table. All right, so let's start off right here. So, Amy, when you said, you're uncomfortable, and I'm nervous all the time, and I've been speaking for a long time. What is the uncomfortableness for you about? Is it because it's your voice only, or what?
I think it's a little bit of both. I'm uncomfortable because of just speaking out and putting myself out there, putting my judgment. I'm naturally a people pleaser by heart. So the fear of judgment is out there. But I mean, I don't care if I'm judged about this issue because this is just something I've lit a fire in my soul about. And that's just, we are people. And so the uncomfortability comes with because there's a lot of things I don't know. I'm a white, and I have been given this amazing life that when I hear and I see things that make me uncomfortable, I feel hurt. I feel this pain that I just want to find reasons or ways to help. And that's just, so my uncomfortability comes just from the unknown, and I don't always know how to handle situations and know the right thing to say.
And so just 1 second. So we want to make sure, so viewers, we're looking at you and we want to make sure you can hear us. So they are saying that you guys cannot really hear us well. So we're going to have our audio tech video people to it says a lot of static. So what we'll do is when we're not speaking, we'll turn our mic off and just turn it on and see if that will make a change. So when we're not speaking, we just have to remember and see if it's doing that now. Is that better? Just let us know, because we want everybody to be able to hear us well, and we'll just work it. We will just work it. Okay. It's a lot of static. Okay, so let's just wait till they tell us if it's better. Let us know if it's better. Or one mic. Hey, we're family today at the Purple Table. Okay. So right now they're not saying anything differently. Okay. So if it's something else. Okay, so we'll keep going unless they tell us that. Okay. Wonderful. So I heard you, and I think that we just want to make sure that everybody else can hear us. Minister Denise, I think you have an interesting story that I know a little bit about. You were actually raised pretty much in a predominantly white area where there was only one other family in the city of Pacifica, right? So can you explain a little bit about that story, and what did that do for Nina? I'm going to kind of flip the script because you weren't expecting this story. Right. I mean, this question. But what did that do for you as it pertains to when you met Black folks?
Oh, wow. My first experience really being around my own people was uncomfortable. Is that crazy? I mean, it was uncomfortable. These are my own people, but I felt a certain level of uncomfortability because of the fact that being raised in a predominantly white area, there was only like one other black family in that area at that time. And the school that I went to, they actually had to bus more African American students into the school. So I kind of adapted to what I would say is the white culture more so than my own culture. So I was the outsider, and when I would talk to them, the first thing they would say is, "You talk funny." What do you mean I talk funny? Well, you talk like a white girl. I'm like, what does a white girl talk like?
And hold on one second. I think I know why it's staticky. I think if you have your Facebook on right now, you got to turn it off because it conflicts with the Facebook that's filming. So I think that's one of the reasons because I could hear somebody's Facebook. Okay. I think. Oh, you were listening. Oh, so you could hear it. Okay. Does it sound better? It did help. Okay, so we'll keep the mics off. Okay, got it. And then make sure the camera is doing something. I think it's off. Okay, so you had an issue with being around blacks, pretty much.
I think pretty much I had an issue with being black. And I mean, as crazy as that sounds, but no, seriously, because everything I identified with was not of the black culture. I didn't want my hair to look like that. I didn't want nothing I did or spoke about to kind of identify with that. And most of the time I was kind of embarrassed when my own people would talk. And then I got this revelation. One day I had a great friend of mine, I forgot her name, but she took me to Oakland, California. That was like a culture shock. I'm going to tell you, I said, oh my God, I didn't know there was this many black people in the world. Seriously. I mean, really. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I looked and I was like, wow, there's so many black people out here. I kind of like this, And then there was the things about the houses there, which I thought were, I would say, oh, those are so cute. Are those apartments? They said, no, those are houses. I was like, that's a house? And then my son one day, I remember taking my son to Oakland. And I remember him passing one of the basketball courts. And they didn't have the nets on the court. You know how we do, And so he said, oh, my God, Mom, I know they're poor. I said, why would you say it? Because they don't even have nets on their basketball court. I was like, oh, wow. I need my kids to get some exposure. So, yeah, I felt like the outsider. And really, I didn't understand really anything about the black culture until I moved to Oakland and got around my own people.
And I purposely asked the question because I'm trying to set us up so that it's not just a thing about white culture and having the comfortability, but it's also about blacks having the comfortability within their own self and their own kind. And I think it's really important that we talk about it because when you see, and we ain't talking about this today, when you see black on black crimes or different things of that nature, there's a level of self-hatred that takes place. But what happens when it's compounded with the subtleties of racism? You walk into a store, you're black, and you immediately get two people walking behind you. I'm not a steal. I don't steal anything, but it's really, really taxing to walk into a place. Can I help you? Immediately before I step foot almost in the store. No joke. Yeah. Or if I don't have my purse, but I have a wallet, so maybe they don't think I have I don't know. But so I wanted to ask that question. So here's another question. So when you put this out there, Amy, on Facebook, what was your hope? Because I saw and I read it. A good friend of ours, Siobhan Fisher, I call her Candy. Candy, she's watching right now, so she immediately tagged me. And then I got in touch with Miss Amy. And so, but what were you hoping?
To go to a park and sit amongst people whoever wanted to join me in this talk. Just about our feelings and to talk about how terrible this community is feeling. Black people are feeling, and I come from a place of passion with children, so I think that's where it led me. I want to do better. I want to learn how to talk to my kids I can read books. I can give them black dolls. I can do crafts. But it starts with just understanding and coming to an understanding. And I don't, Candy, I love you. I don't speak to Candy that often, but we've messaged each other through Facebook, and she's the one that, brought a little bit of this light to the connections. And I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of black friends. And that's just, there's nothing against me not having black friends. I was raised to judge people by who they are. I never look at you or you differently for that. I don't judge you. But I think we all have our own. I mean, I'm totally open to being honest with myself and the stereotypes that maybe the media portrays or the stigma that black people maybe have. But in my heart, I know I don't judge people. So anyway, what was the question again? I go on tangents. I can't. No, really. My hope was just to get people together and let's talk and you have to talk. We can post, and I know that these are talks. This is not just one talk. This is like a lifetime of talks. And this is just, and talking's not even going to change things. It's just going to make me more comfortable. And when naturally you learn more, you feel more comfortable talking about it. And that's where my heart is. So my goal was just to bring that to the table, and anyone that's interested that maybe has different point of views than me, but respects me as a person, maybe they know that okay, maybe I'll look at this side and look at where Amy's coming from, or look at where you're coming. You just never know where your connections and where your light can shine through certain people.
And I want to say this, when I saw you on Facebook, because I'm always networking on Facebook. Really, I am. I'm a connector networker. But the one thing that moved me about you, I have to say, is the fact that you felt. We have become such a generation of desensitized people. And I know that social media has played a huge platform in that, because social distancing started way before this craziness started. We don't want to talk anymore. We don't want to verbally communicate. What we want to do is, let me text you. Okay, I'll text you. So we get desensitized, and we are human beings. We were meant to touch. That's why we have all these senses. It's for a reason. So the fact that you felt something that was uncomfortable, that made you God, that spoke volumes to me. And that is why I reached out to you. Because as I look around, as I see the social media platform, the news platform, and everybody's being criminalized, and we just want to loot and tear up. Well, I need you to understand and to see a whole different side of what a black woman is or a black man is versus what you see on the media. We're not all that, because there's good and bad in every race. Now, I can't dismiss the atrocities that have gone on in my race. I cannot just say, well, that was then. Well, no, it's not just then. It is a continual cycle of mistreatment. And so now it's like so much blood has been spilt that the blood is crying up from the ground. We need help. And I'm not saying that conversations will change that, but what I will tell you is that if we don't converse, it's like these pressure cookers. The pressure keeps building up until pop. What you see now are outward expressions of inward battles, of over and over trying to get the attention. Hey, look, we're being mistreated. We're being mistreated. My son is dead. Do you understand that? And nobody's hearing me. Nobody's listening. My nephew was gunned down. Nobody cares. And no matter what paperwork we put in, no matter how many times we go to city officials and governors and whoever, you don't hear us. So now when you see the looting and the rioting, that is the outward expression of an inward battle that's been going on for a long time. Trauma is what it is. So now you see this explosion on the outside, and you're like, why are they doing that? Well, let's think back. Let's just go back to how many times the voices have gone out and been shut down. This is what you see now, the anger, the frustration, like nobody understands this. Nobody can understand what it's like to be a woman that walks in a store, and I feel like sometimes I need to go in a store like, my hands are up. You want to look at my purse? I'm clear to go. That I shouldn't have to feel like that. I shouldn't have to feel like when my son gets off work, are you home yet? Are you going to make it? Is he there? Did he make it home? Because he has a hoodie on. That is insane. But these are the fears that we as Black people go through every single day, not knowing if our child is going to make it home, not knowing that even though he puts his hands on the wheel and he's abiding by everything that the officer says, that he's still going to be brutalized with one wrong move. One wrong move is all it takes to end his life.
That was the conversation, I think, that led me to just put myself out there at 10 o'clock at night and just say, let's talk, because it was that video I saw of a woman, a mother, explaining how she had to prepare her son for being around a cop if they got pulled over or if they got stopped. And right when I heard that, I like had tears streaming down my face. I'm like, I have never even thought I'd have to ever do that with my children. Like, who am I? And that was kind of the icebreaker for me, or the thing that pushed me to do this. So it's heartbreaking. We have no idea.
I have a nephew. Come here, nephew. Who's here? Come on. I want you to tell what happened, because this is a kind of fear that we go through every single day. And he's being very brave because he didn't know that I would call him up front. But I need the world to get a picture of what is going on with our young people and the kind of fear that they live in every single day. Yeah. Talk in the mic.
Hello.
Tell them your name.
Hi, my name is Button Alexander. I stay in Vacaville, California. And so a couple months back, I was on my way to work, and I'm driving, 2 cops pull up behind me, and they're following me for about 10 minutes. And I know, right? And I get to a left turn, and I put my blinker on. I get in the left turn, nothing's wrong with my lights in the back either, so everything's good. Light turns green. As soon as I press on the gas, I get blurred, and I'm just like, I don't know why, right? So I get pulled over, and then he tells me to pull in this Walgreens parking lot. So I pull into the parking lot, and I still got my hands on the wheel. And so he pulls up, and so my driver's side window doesn't roll down, or it didn't when I had that car at the time. My driver's side window didn't roll down. So I had to I have my hands up, and I was like, I'm gonna open the door now. So it's I kind of had one hand on the wheel, one hand up. I opened the door slowly. And then when he opened the door, he was like, "You don't gotta be like that." I was like, "Yeah, I do. I'm not even gonna play around with it." So he asked me for my license. I gave him my license. Everything was good. He patted me down, and he asked me to search. He asked to search my car, and I was like, "Go ahead." No, not yet. Nope. And so he searched my car. Nothing in there. He patted me down. Nothing. License was good, my tag, everything was good, right? And then when he was finally about to go, I was just out here. I still have my hands up when I was I still have my hands up when I was outside of the car, and he told me everything was good, and I asked him what I got stopped for, and then he told me I made an illegal turn when he stopped me before I even turned. I didn't even turn yet, and he said I was driving suspiciously. Yeah.
So you said he was following you for 10 minutes. Did you ever think that he would pull you over?
Oh, I knew he was.
Okay, but the reason why I asked that, because I wanted to ask another question, because I posted something on my Facebook and people really responded to this. Now, in hearing that you knew he was going to pull you over, Amy, if you had a son, how old are you? 17, that's driving, that was 17 years old, and he gets pulled over, do you think that your son would suspect that an officer will pull him over? Absolutely. So we want the world, so here, now I'm putting my clinical hat on. I need for the world to understand why the conversations should be uncomfortable, because you create a psychological reaction to and trauma-based stuff for young people before they can even get started. He already knew he was going to be pulled over. He was just in his brain trying to figure out the why. And then constitutionally, law-wise, the officer never told him why, and then said because he looked like he was driving suspicious. People have died because of someone's look. I mean, it's just really that serious. And the reason why I said it, because I brought up the story because I was going to ask Amy, and those that are watching, for all of you that are watching, does anyone know who Emmett Till is? Any person of Caucasian. There's a one person here in the audience, he knows who Emmett Till is. This is so why uncomfortable conversations have to happen. In 1955, August the 28th, a 14-year-old boy who went to go stay with his family in Mississippi, even though his mother was kind of hesitant about him going to do that because she knew what went on in Mississippi. Long story short, he went to a store. It was said that he whistled at a white woman. Then it was said that he just whistled like, whoo, like maybe you're pretty or whatever the case may be. Remember, he's not from that area. He was from a totally different area. So then they found out where this 14-year-old black boy lived and stayed with his uncle. They came, and I want to read something. His assailants, the white woman's husband and her brother, made Emmett Till, watch this, carry a 75-pound cotton gin fan to the bank of the Tallahatchie River, ordered him to take off his clothes. The two men beat him nearly to death, gouged out his eye, shot him in the head, threw his body, tied the cotton gin with barbed wire into the river. He came from a working class neighborhood in the south side of Chicago, attended a segregated elementary school, etc., staying at the cousin's house. Fast forward. When the mother found out, and they were never ever sent to jail. And do you want to know something? I have to say it. I think it was just recently, 2014, 2013. The white woman recanted and said it was not true. I only bring that out because you have to understand why some blacks are still angry. And the mother, though, she did something that had never been done. Single mom. She said, if they're going to kill him that way, then the whole world, until the world is no more, will know what they did to my son. She had an open casket. Unrecognizable. And I don't know, our audiovisual team can put that picture up of Emmett Till. I want everybody to see it too. So when I saw George Floyd gasping for air and foaming at the mouth, to me it just sent all kind of shock waves. And that recently, I don't know if you know, but I'm going to put light to it. 6 young black people have been found lynched in trees. They said suicide. None of them had suicidal tendencies. 3 college graduates. In front of City Hall, a library, all in front of. So we must have these uncomfortable conversations. What would you do? Let's talk about it. Because I've already talked to my kid's grandmother who's white. What would you have done if somebody did that to one of your sons, being a white woman? And because she was with a black man, so she had mixed kids. She said, hey, I was disowned by my very wealthy white family for messing with a black man and having 2 children. So you know I'm willing to do whatever. Right. She said, I would have raised so much Cain and talked to so many people. I said, and they would have heard you because you still have white privilege. Yeah. And so the question really becomes when people ask, because some people even ask us, why are we having uncomfortable conversations? Because too many of us are still uncomfortable. They're not other people that wake up wondering if their white husbands are going to come home from work or if they are going to be pulled by the police officer and in their work clothes put in the mud just for being white. Have you thought about that, Amy? That your handsome husband is going to be pulled over and hey, brother, you're white. You look suspicious. This don't look like your neighborhood. And your husband say, oh, I live up the street. Get out the car. Ranch up. You don't think that's going to happen to your white husband. But that's not the case for black women, including people that have PhDs. I have a doctor. It doesn't matter. Your blackness criminalizes you. Yes. I know what I'm talking about from my own experience just about 6 years ago. So it's important It's important to have these uncomfortable conversations. Amy.
So I've got a little list of questions from people who have responded and wanted to like learn some insight and listen to however you'd like to answer these questions. The first one is, should we refer to people of color as Black or African American?
Very good question. And I always tell people now, I'm a professor too, but I always tell people, it's got to be your comfortability, because we'll know if it's authentic. If you say white friends, Caucasian friends, the political term is African American. So if you want to be politically correct, they'll say African American. If you have, hey, my black sister girl or whatever, and you have that relationship, but out in the public, you know, right now with the times, you might want to say African American. Yeah, because they might, you know, depending on how people feel. Black, that's close to Negro, you know, and that's close to Niglet, you know, whatever the case may be. Right. So yeah, I would do African American. Yep.
Good to know. This question is from my grandmother, who would be here right now, I know, if she could. Due to COVID, she's not. So she says, I am an 85-year-old white woman who is bound to her home because of the pandemic. What can I do to make connections personally with the Black community or African American community?
I think that's a great question, because there is a lot you can do, even from the comfort of your home. You can call school districts. You can find different organizations that you can donate to help with education. You know, I work in a school district for the Berkeley Unified School District, and I work with mentally challenged kids as well as special ed kids. And I notice a lot of, like, even for simple things like school supplies and, you know, things that may be affordable in your community, aren't necessarily trickling down to this community. So there are plenty of organizations. Dr. Lakita has a lot of organizations, which she'll have to tell you, because I don't know the names of all of them. But, you know, reach out to these organizations that are really trying to make a difference. You know, there are organizations that are out here that are trying to stop crime in their communities. What can we do? Find out what those organizations are. Reach out to them and say, I'd like to make a donation. You know, it may seem like a small thing, but I'm going to tell you, this whole thing is about starting one person at a time. That's why dialogue is important. It is essential. And I know a lot of people may feel like, oh, I don't need a white woman to come tell me this and that. And well, it ain't even about that. What it's about is starting dialogue so we can have a better understanding of each other, because the only fear is because I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know what your motive is. I could go off of what your ancestors did forever and ever and ever. Sure, there were a lot of atrocities that were done by your ancestors, and I can't just dismiss it and act like it didn't happen. Yes, it happened. But now here, what is my responsibility, not only as a human being, but as a Christian, is to show the love of God, is to try to find out solutions and not be a part of the problem. You know, when do we start to have dialogue and conversations like, okay, I didn't like what I saw. It made me sick. I never want my kids to have to experience even looking at something like that again. How do I start? Well, it all starts in the home. What kind of dialogue are you having in the home? What kind of verbiage are you using in the home? You know, it can be destructive language or it can be constructive language. So, I mean, it's just all in what you want to do. But I would suggest reaching out to maybe some communities that are impoverished communities, you know, find out, well, what kind of programs do you have out there that we can make a donation to? I'd like to do my part in doing better. You know, God gives us every day a chance to get a do-over to do better. Do better with your do-over. This is a do better moment. We're getting a do-over. Let's start somewhere. And you're a person, I'm a person. Everybody in here can make a difference one at a time. And everybody may not catch on, but if two catch on, that's good. That's good. Those two can make a difference in their community. And if two more catch on, that's a difference in their community. If somebody's in school and, you know, maybe they've been getting down with their friends and their friends have been talking a certain way, be like, oh, hold up. You can't talk about my friend like that, because that's not true. That's an ignorant statement. Why don't you learn about something before you start to open your mouth, you know? So I would suggest that. You know, Dr. Lakita, her organization, she can tell you about those. You know, you want to start there because she's making a huge difference in not only the school districts, but trying with mental health and all kinds of things. I would suggest that she start there.
What are some normal occurrences or interactions in your day-to-day life as a Black female that maybe we as white don't understand but are clear signs of ignorance or racist?
How your hair get like that? What do you mean? Just look. I mean, y'all may not mean no harm, and I'm not saying you do. Like I said, some things are just said and done out of ignorance, But it's kind of offensive. No, it ain't kind of. It is offensive.
Or the or the differentiation of, oh, but you're not like them. So, I was bused to a Caucasian school, 7th grade, 8th, and 9th. I'm from Long Beach, California, number 6 of 7 children. And, but I immediately felt the difference. I did. And the only thing that I had in my head was that I knew that the wealth gap was huge. When I was invited to a friend of mine's house, she's famous, now, but for a birthday party, I remember saying to myself, her name was Allison Gelb, and I was really, really smart and but fun and funny. I remember going to the house for the party, which was where the school was at, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I did not want to go to the bathroom. Now, this is a real story. I did not want to go to the bathroom. I don't steal, but in my brain, I was thinking, what if something happens or comes up missing? They're going to think the Black girl took it. I promise you. So then she was like, hey, is everything good? I said, yeah, so I'm still holding my pee. And she says, oh, all the sodas, because there were so many people, all the sodas is, my mom put them in the washing machine and put the ice in there so we could just have sodas wherever we wanted to have them. And so just go downstairs and get one. And, and I was thinking, I'm not going anywhere by myself. And that's terrible. And I will say it's a dual thing. It's how I saw myself, but it's really what was kind of inferred in elementary about, Blacks, and it was subtle. So there was no fight back. As a 9-year-old, you don't know how to fight back that, you're too loud or whatever, or just stuff that was said. So you grow up, and I really had to fight. I had to fight in my own head that, one, I was good enough. Because self-hatred is real. It's real. So imagine if you have self-hatred, and then you're also dealing with what you definitely know and feel from the outside. I mean, one person said, oh, the only thing she's got going for herself, I was in junior high school, is she's really smart. And I thought to myself, whoa. And then it was like something clicked. And this is why I have a personal relationship with God, because I knew at that moment, okay, either what's in this Bible is real and can work for my life, or it's just not. I'm just not going to fool with it. And literally, God changed my life, really, because I knew I had great influence, but it could have gone both ways. And God really changed my life to be a different voice. And as God changed my life, literally as a kid, as a teenager, changed my life, I really realized, I get it. It's a spirit, and you don't know what you know. It sits on you. You do what you've been taught. And so I learned that as a teenager, and then I started being part of everything, president, and I did all kind of stuff. And I would tell my white friends, yeah, you're wealthy, but hey, but you're missing some things. Wealth, you need wisdom to keep it. And you may have the wealth, but the sly remarks. And I used to say that. Until this day, they will let you know, because I was gung-ho. But I was gung-ho for God, and they knew it. I started a Christian club when I was in high school, the whole bit, and it changed the game. But I'm going to tell you, if in our own heads we self-doubt, this is why I'm proud of you, because until you step out of your comfort zone, we'll never grow. I had to step out of my comfort zone or die. And that little girl could have died and never really arose to this place. I mean, seriously. And then I got to Cal when I was 17, and there's 600 people in there and just a few Blacks. And I'm in a major that it's science, and there's few Blacks. But I remember the teachings. Here we go. Teachings. So for my Caucasian brothers and sisters, it is what you're taught. And it's the subtleties of what was not spoken. My parents were very vocal about what they wanted from us, and they demonstrated what they desired. It's two different things. For your parents to say, don't be racist, but they have racist tendencies, that's something else. And that's what I want to say to my Caucasian families out there. Your parents may have said, don't you be racist, you love everybody, but if they have in their behavior, that's why we're having these uncomfortable conversations. Amy, myself, or anyone else, we could say we don't want, but does our behavior stifle?
Yes.
Man, you know? So that was some of the things as a black woman, because I'm a girl before I became a woman. And if God had not crushed those ways of how I saw myself, I would never be able to love you. I truly believe the scripture that you must first love yourself and then you can love your neighbors. You can love your neighbors as you love yourself. If I don't love myself, I can't love you. I don't care what. And loving yourself is not nails and hair.
Right.
I try to tell people it's not losing 50 pounds. Loving yourself is truly being okay, even if you're flawed. I ain't got it all together. I just love me today. I'm okay with who I am.
And I wrote down this. I think with anything and anytime you want to have change, there has to be accountability, responsibility, and after the responsibility, there has to be action. We can talk and have dialogue all day long, but until you actually take accountability for your feelings and whatever it is you've been like, why does my presence make you uncomfortable? We're all made in God's image, but why does my image make you uncomfortable? That is something that I just don't get. We are all made in his image, but why does my image make you so uncomfortable? And if God is love and the image of love, why are you uncomfortable? Why, when I get on an elevator, you feel the need to clutch your purse? Why, when I go into a store, do people feel the desire or the need to police me through the store? My money is the same money that she's about to spend. It's just insane. And that is what the one thing that I can't grasp is, why does my image make you uncomfortable? It has to be something or some way that maybe you were brought up in a household where you weren't exposed to certain cultures, which I think is detrimental. You know, you want to know what you can do to make a difference when with your kids. Well, Berkeley is a very diversified place, multicultural. Start taking them to different multicultural things. Expose them to different cultures, you know, because I'm proud to be a black woman in America. I really am. I love myself. I love my color. I love my people. But I'm not hating you for what your ancestors did. But I do hold a certain amount of, what did you say? I'm sorry. Accountability. Like, what makes your behavior different? And how have you shown me it's different?
I don't even know the right words to respond to all that, but I just think that for me and the people I've spoke to that feel different than me, because I do believe in white privilege, they're on the defense. Like, I didn't do it. Like, I'm not racist. I treat everybody, but we should all treat each other, you know, the all lives matter thing versus the Black Lives Matter thing. And it's just, it's hard. It's such an uncomfortable position to talk to. It puts barriers between relationships because we can't really accept all lives until we just step back. Step back. That's all we have to do is just step back and listen. And we are white. We have no idea. We can say, oh, this is what we hear on the media. This is what my friends tell me. This is what I've read on the internet or what I've seen on Instagram stories. But I don't know. For me personally, I'm stepping back because I know people need help. And if you really believe that, it is the color of your skin that is making these problems happen. And so I'm just stepping back and I'm listening and I'm growing, and that is what's going to make, if everybody did that, it would be different. So let's go to, okay, we talked about the children. Should we go out of our way to acknowledge Black friends or acquaintances during this time?
Let me share with you. Let me tell you, I'm big. You're looking at a person that I had a lot of self-esteem issues after an incident happened at 8 years of age, and then from 8 to 12, it was really, really rocky. And then the Lord did the miraculous thing, and He drew me to Himself in a way that I owe Him everything. And so I tell people, because I've learned about personal power, you gotta still be you. So I live in Brentwood, California, and I go on this walking trail. And the moment that all this stuff happened with the George Floyd, now mine is so interesting because I would say hello to people, and they would kind of randomly speak back. I don't trip. I just keep it moving. I'm not easily offended like that. But people, since this whole thing, have been really, hi, like one lady yesterday, oh my God, hi, how are you? And then I saw, right, and so yesterday a lady was like, oh, hi, and I was looking at the thing, and I just kind of looked, and I wanted to tell her, but I was like, I'm not going to do any teaching. Then I saw another lady, she had her dog off the leash, and I thought, this is not a good time to have dogs off the leash. We just had that situation, and I'm a dog lover, but man, that's a pit bull, this. So to all of my white brothers and sisters, listen, in everything be of good understanding. The scripture tells us, in all of your getting, get an understanding. And you just have to, it has to be authentic. And no, don't go out of your way, because we're gonna feel like, okay, you're going out of your way. Just,
Doing too much.
you're doing too much. Just like chill, and give us some time, because the truth of the matter is, and somebody just sent me, my niece is a journalist and she does red carpet stuff in Hollywood. Go niece, Raina, and she graduated from USC. And one of the things she just posted on her YouTube, a black guy that's a FedEx, and he just literally broke down. Did you see that? Yeah, like that thing just had me in tears this morning. This just happened a couple of days ago. He's just like, my family is white. I don't know if he's adopted or what that means, but he's like, you could just feel the brokenness. So I'm just saying to all my white brothers and sisters, you got to give us some time. It's a lot. And I'm a very strong-minded person, but I tell you, I woke up one morning and I thought, it has been nobody but the Lord. Even because here's the thing, I just want to put this out there because I just have to. It's one thing about the knee on the neck that we could physically see, but I was having a conversation with some friends of mine who are lawyers and doctors, and they're African Americans, and we thought about something. We said, but how many times did they put their knee on the neck in the HR department and crossed us off when we had just the same amount of? I just thought about that, and how many times did X, Y, and Z, and we knew it, but God always intervened for me. The hand of God has been on my life. People have told me flat out they did not want you to get the job. They were going to hire somebody with less skills, but they don't know. Because you're black. And I was young, because I got my degrees when I was early. I went to school and just kept going and plowing, because I was like, I'm poor and I'm broke and I need to make sure I've got to do all that I can do. But I'm telling you, and they said, but somebody unlikely spoke up. And I said, they spoke up. They didn't know me. They spoke up, but I'm a prayer person. I don't care what's going on in this world. And you can hear it from my mouth. It may not happen in my lifetime. I believe, and I've seen both in scripture, those that have been oppressed, God finds a way to set them free. Even if he has to do away with the whole world, he'll do away with the whole world. I know that God has been on my side, so I put prayer to everything that I do. And that is a thing that blacks have had to do. We've had to put prayer. But I'm thinking to myself, what are those who don't know about prayer? I know that there's been prayers, because the lady would call me and says, oh my God. And she would say, or the person would tell me, you weren't really the one that I wanted. And then all of a sudden something happened. I know that something was the Lord. I know it was. And so it's tough. Just tell them, no, just chill. Just do like you're doing. Hey, just be honest. I'm a white woman with white privilege, and I get stuff because I'm white. Just tell the truth. Hey, but don't let people make you feel bad about it.
Right.
Oh no, no. Well, you got don't feel bad. Hey, just like you didn't know you were gonna be black, I didn't know I was gonna be white. This is what we gotta live in. Come on. At the same time, you are doing something though. You decided though, what can I say? What can I do? So yeah, just tell them to just hold back. You know, then when COVID is over, we'll have some coffee.
I got white privilege. You want to go to lunch? Yep, sure do.
So then, what would you say to people who disagree with their white privilege? If you have, two white people that aren't on the same page.
And so let me just make sure I got this right. Two white people that think that they don't have white privilege? Oh, one does and one doesn't. Then I would ask the question like this to the one that doesn't. So I would just say, okay, you don't. So you and me, let's walk into a store together. And I want to find out, and let's walk in where they don't think that we are together. But let's walk in at the same time. Who do you think they will serve first, even in 2020? I would love to do experiments. I know what I'm talking about, and maybe that's something you and I. We can do some. We can do some covert experiments. I think that's what's hot. And we'll do some covert. I'm telling you, in 2020, it has happened. I walked into a Nordstrom's. Me and a white woman. I didn't know her, but in my brain, because I'm just that way. I always wear 5-inch heels. I walked in. I just wanted to see. Just walked in. She's dressed down. I'm dressed like I'm dressed. Walked right in. People looked at me, scanned me over. 2 people came to her. I don't know. Maybe they knew her. But in my brain, as I actually had to go and ask someone to come help me. And then I ended up not buying anything. And the only reason why I didn't buy, because in my spirit, see, I'm a spirit person. In my spirit, I just felt like, ugh, it feels yucky. Something just, maybe it's a bad day for them. It's a bad day for me to spend my money here. You know,
Right.
so you understand what I'm saying? So it's still happening, y'all, in 2020. Yeah. So if the one person that's white doesn't think they get privileged, I'm telling you, I'm sorry. Guess what? Somebody else just did a story. His name is Marcus Rogers. His mom is white, and he talked about the story when he was 16 years old, and he got 400,000 followers. He's just awesome, and he's a preacher and so forth. But he said his mom is white, and so he jumped in a fight where 2 white girls were fighting, but some people started jumping on the other white girl and really beating her up bad, and then boys started jumping in. So he jumped in when the boys jumped in, when the police got there, and he's super light skinned, like the one that just, so he don't really look black, but I guess in all the whites, he gonna look black. And then guess what? They grabbed him, threw him in the cop car. And the Asian guy from the store said, hey, he just was breaking up the fight. He says, I don't believe it. Took him to jail. He said, please, and the young 16-year-old boy, Marcus Rogers, he says, do me a favor. Take me to my house and talk to my mother. He said, till this day, he doesn't know why he said that. They thought, okay. And he said, I just got accepted to the Army. That's why he told him to do that. He said, go talk to my mother. So he was 17. And went, pulled up. The white mom comes up the door, and she's, what's going on? This is my son, Marcus. I mean, I was hollering. Do you know? Oh, and he said the blood came out of the white officer's face. Ma'am, we're sorry, we didn't know. And he's a part of the Army. He just got accepted, and he doesn't get into any trouble. Where he was in some fight. Whatever he told you is the truth. And he said, I tried to tell them I just jumped in because they were starting to beat up on the girl, and guys were, and went off. But let me tell you something. A black mom coming out to do that, she going to jail. Do you understand the difference?
Slam to the ground.
Oh.
Hit the head.
And I just even saying it, she going to jail. Yes. 90 years old. On the grass. 90-year-old grandmother. Yes.
What you're saying is true if that's the privilege there. Even though he was biracial and I'm biracial too, it's the privilege. Except my mom, she passed away, but she's Mexican. So, but that's the privilege. Is that here's an older woman. He could have addressed the grandmother and said, "Ma'am, I stopped your grandson because of X, Y, and Z," and that could have been a ticket, and that's it, or a warning. A simple warning. Yeah, but that's just to address, what she said.
So that's that reality, Amy. It's definitely it's an interesting time, but that's why we have to have these conversations.
What is the most effective way to explain racism to our children, in your opinion?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I think we live in an age of imagery. I think you explain it, and maybe that's something that young folks could do, is to do a video so that other young folks can look at that video too. But to show them, hey, there are some people that were not so nice, and to show them clips, of things, like, they sick the dogs out on little black kids just wanting to go to school, or the water hose. When I look at that imagery, I think to myself, oh, because we're black, you enslaved us for 400 years, you didn't want us to learn to read, and then you got pissed off because we learned how to read. And we didn't just learn how to read, we learned how to write, then we learned how to teach other people how to do it, how to be a teacher, then we learned how to build our own schools, and we learned how to build our own banks, and we still thrived even though your foot was on us, figuratively and, psychologically. And I think that just letting young folks just see some things age appropriately, and anytime, because I do this with my children, anytime they even crudely say things, they're playing the Fortnite games, and like I heard, my son he probably get mad at me, but I'm going to tell it anyway. He was on the phone with his white cousin that's the same age and lives in Tahoe, and I guess he forgot the mom was in the room. They like cussing, and I mean, my son's 11, his cousin is 11 too. What the H? I said, what's going on here? And he said, Mom, I said, Mom, my behind, And so as I thought about it, and so then I spoke up so that the cousin could hear, and I said, do you know that his mom is in his presence? Oh. I said, would you be cussing in front of your mother? No way. And no way, I'll get in trouble. And I told my son, then you've got to make sure you model. Don't get so lax, because we don't do that cussing in here. So just little things, but don't penalize them. Don't do too much over, but bit by bit, if they have questions, Mom, why did they grab their child and pull them away from me? Or, just little by little. It's a ongoing conversation.
And you know what else I would say? I would definitely, because a lot of things start in the schools, and it starts from elementary up. Find out in the school districts, what kind of programs do you have for race relations in the school district? It's important, and because I see a lot of separatism even in the schools. You got the blacks on this side of the cafeteria, you got the Latinos here, the Filipinos there. So what kind of programs or educational things do they have to teach about race relations? And how can you be of any kind of assistance in trying to make connections so that they can have people come in that can possibly talk to these young kids? Because if we don't get them now, what you saw with George, that's what's going to happen later. So the conversation has to start everything starts from the home. So if you really want to make an impact and a difference, which is, I know what you're reaching out to do, I would definitely, it all starts in your home with your, this is your only son? With your son. Okay, with your kids, having those comfortable and uncomfortable conversations, and then maybe sometimes having something where you invite people of other color in to sit down and talk, and let's get to know each other, because when you're not familiar with each other, there's always going to be that fear factor there. It's like, well, I really don't know. If we have greens, is that too black? Or if we get cornbread, what do? They have pig feet? Should we get chitlins? I don't know. So I'm just saying, I'm just realistically just having those the little bitty things. You're gonna have a barbecue, a backyard barbecue. Well, okay, don't invite your black friends. Just invite somebody that can kind of give a different kind of I guess culture experience to your friends. It's like, wow, you guys are really cool. So we won't be like, oh, but you're not like those other black people. What do you mean? I'm still black. No matter what you say, how you spin it. I don't see color. Yes, you do. I'm still a black woman, but it's the little things that you do. But I would definitely, start instilling those kind of values in your children, like, watching movies that, like she said, are age appropriate, and then having conversations with them and having their friends have conversations, even if it's a pizza party or something, hey, we're going to talk about some things here today. And definitely check with the school district to see what they're doing as far as trying to instill race relations in the school districts.
That's a great idea. I think also I'm just speaking for myself, as a white woman, as a mother who, it's that you want to protect your children and the fear of, am I saying the wrong thing? But I mean, in my thoughts is when all of this was coming about, I brought my children to a peaceful protest. So many of these hard, difficult things we have to expose our children to, because how else are they going to learn? And again, age appropriate, but also in my heart, I want to teach color and not blind it, like not that, oh, we're seeing everybody the same, but no, there's reasons we have color, and that's beautiful, and let's embrace that. And I think, giving kids books and resources and crafts, but also where I come from, where I live currently, the school district my child's going to, we're the majority, the white. And so how can I give my children that exposure if we're not like what's the word I'm looking for? Immersed in that.
Yeah, definitely. And I extend the invitation to all of you, by the way, that you're here. If you really like a nice black cultural experience, a church experience, please come to one of our services. But just know, we're not that, no, we hallelujah here. We shout, we praise the Lord here. So I invite you guys to come and experience, this is part of our culture, I mean, no, we're not, I'm not putting nobody down now. Don't get it wrong. I don't want to get it messed up. But, we're not the Catholic Church where it's just going to be, no, honey, you're going to hear some music, clapping, rejoicing, celebrating our Lord and our Savior. Come get exposed. Don't be afraid. We won't bite. I promise you we're going to embrace you. We're going to love on you. These are different little things that you can do. It's like, wow, that was an experience. Yeah, it was. But, I feel kind of good. Now I know a little bit more about the black culture. As they say, quote unquote, the black church, but there's only one church. But we quote unquote the black church. But come and get some of these experiences that you've never experienced before. Don't be afraid. Step out on the water, honey. Just stay focused. My focus is that I'm trying to get new experiences and instill new values in my kids. So I'm going to step out of the boat. Be like Peter, I'm going to keep my eyes on Jesus, and I'm not going to look to the left or the right, but I'm going to enjoy the experience while I'm here.
I wanted to make sure I gave a reference, though, too. I was exposed to this woman so that everybody can know. Her name is Jane Elliott. She's a white woman who maybe about 25, 30 years ago, everyone should know her. I think that's a great place, Amy, actually, to start. She's a white woman that got a lot of threats from white folks because she did a experiment, brown eye, blue eye. And then that experiment was so powerful to where it turned into, she just says, quit lying. You have white privilege. We have white privilege. And she did this whole experiment with white folks at a seminar that she did, like on the spot. They were not aware. And she says, now the way that you guys feel, I want you to know, Black people feel that 365 days a year. It was so very powerful. Jane Elliott, she has all kinds of experiments. It's a great eye opener because she does do it that allows for young people to experiment. It's as plain as day. It's plain as day. That's one thing. The second thing I just want to say is that when people say that there's colorblind, they don't see color, tell them you're lying, because when we have to drive to get someplace, you do see color. You see red, and red tells you to do what? Stop. You see yellow, and it tells you to do what? Slow down. You see green, and it tells you to do what? Go. You do see color. And when you see black, my question to all of you is, what do you see? What does it make you do?
Yeah.
That's what the teacher in me wants to leave with the world out there. Do not tell us you don't see color. We have to see color because color informs us to do something. We know that if an iron is hot, it might turn red on the stove. It means it's too hot to touch. But when you see me as a black person, what comes to your brain? And whatever that is, you've got to reprogram it. We're programmed to see red as stop. And every now and then when we are distracted in our car, we might go through it. What's making you go through the fact that I'm a black person that's just like you, I just happen to have a different color, but you go through me? You don't see. I just want us to consider that as we're thinking when people say, I don't see color. No, you do. We have to. Everybody sees color. So get comfortable telling your truth. Own your own truth and love it and get comfortable with that. Yes, a question. Yes.
Question, but one thing I admire, because I work in the legal field, I'm a law clerk for Contra Costa County, and what I've learned, what I admire about white women is that you all don't take no for an answer. So if someone tells you no, you're going to go and look at the legalities of if they can tell you no. And that's something, growing up being, in a single parent household, didn't have a lot of money, I wasn't taught that. When I was told no, I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's just how it is. But now that I'm in my 30s and I work in the legal field, I said, oh, you're told no, but you go and you find out if that's correct. And I'm like, wow, that's something that I admire, that I feel that we, regardless if I'm a black woman or not, that's something that we need to adopt. No, you can't tell me no. If you pull me over and you ask to look in my trunk or something, no, you don't have a warrant for that because it's locked. Those type of things that us as black people, I feel like we weren't trained in that way. We were trained to be docile, because it's a system. It was a system set up that way. But to answer your question on what you could do, or anybody that is not of color, use your privilege not to benefit you and just your household. Use your privilege to say, no, that's not right. What Black history are you teaching in the school? Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to listen to you over listening to me, because they're automatically going to look at you like, well, she might know what she's saying, even though you might not. But it just comes with that privilege of being a white woman. That's how you can use your privilege. Just like in the days of Harriet Tubman, the Quakers that helped the slaves, they used their privilege to benefit not just themselves, but to help slaves. So if you have that privilege, use it in that way to now, okay, what can I do to help those that are in need? And right now, and actually for 400 plus years, Black people have been at the bottom. So how can I use my privilege to bring them back up? Not be afraid. And I think there's this fear that if Black people get their reparations, they're going to be on top of us. They're going to be better than us. And it's like, even if that's the case, it's what's deserved because of the free labor that our ancestors put in to build this nation. So I guess what I'm saying is, just, you have that privilege, I don't know what you do for a living, but use that to help the community. Do the legal research, because I know I see it every day. Y'all don't take no for an answer when it's benefiting you. But if it's putting, the black race down, I don't see that legal book being pulled out like, oh, should I be saying that to them? Is that right? No, because it's you're receiving the benefit from it. So that's my point of view from what I see, is that's how that privilege could be used. Use it in education, use it in the medical field, use it in every avenue, because best believe every avenue there is, like it says, the devil is there to steal, kill, and destroy. And for some reason, there's a spiritual reason why black people have been at the bottom. So that's just my comment towards that.
Thank you so much.
That's a true ally, like to be an ally to your community. And thank you. Does anyone else want to?
I know that this racism was during the civil rights movement was huge, and I'm wondering, I was a little bit too young then, I was alive, but what is different about now than then? Because I'm scared that the same things were happening, and probably they were, these same discussions were going on, and it's still happening. So how can we make this event, this moment, different than it was 50 years ago?
That is a very powerful question that I've been thinking about for a very long time. And when the race stuff started happening, even before George Floyd, it was Ahmaud Arbery, the young man that was jogging, awful. And now they're finding out all kinds of other things about the video. And just gunned down. And then Breonna Taylor, on May 19th of this year, I was just up and I didn't really know why. And I just had this insatiable desire, I think it was just spirit-led, to just look at all the various documentaries on Malcolm X. I just was looking at everything. I'm writing all these notes and all the speeches. I'm a speech person. Get the original speeches, not the sound bites. You got to hear the full thing, like the raw of all of it. J. Edgar Hoover, I got all their speeches. And the people that were, I was like, whoa, do they really hear themselves? Like, they really had some stuff against black folks. Like, I mean, this was in the public. CBS, taped this. I was like, I couldn't imagine because it still hits hard. And didn't realize that May 19th ended up being Malcolm X's birthday, but I didn't know that. It was almost like the spirit of Malcolm X. I'm not kidding. Because of what I have to do in my life and who I have to interact with, I always want my mind to be very strong. And it was almost like spirit was like, then you better go back and learn more, even more. And I think that is what fortified me. And I'm going to be honest, I've looked at the canvas and it's a sticky place, man. We're in a sticky place. And you know why? Because too many have told a lot of us blacks to move on. And I think that what we realized, we did try to move on, but we moved on fraudulently. And that trauma is just, neuroplasticity is when your cells have memory. So when you and I experience trauma, the reason why sometimes we still can feel the emotional pain of it is because trauma and pain has a memory. Inside of our cells, it's neuroplasticity, there's cells that when you stub a toe, your toe can be healed, but your brain still remembers that it's stubbed, so you're still kind of limp. Mm-hmm. Think about that for a moment. Oh, the brain is so powerful. Can you imagine black people moved on, got degrees, but you still feel?
Yeah.
It's in,
Yeah.
It's ingrained, Miss Amy. And so I think, this is my thought, I think that the Gen Zs, the 13 through the 21-year-olds, the millennials that we see doing all the protesting, I believe they are at a point, and a lot of them are very educated with the Black Lives Matters and so forth and so on, but they're unwilling, and this is what I've heard them say from the top down. They're unwilling at this point. They're like, it's not worth living if we're going to have died when our forefathers already died doing this 60 years ago. Either something's going to change or it's all getting ready to fold and unfold. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, I do feel they're not going to stop until some real changes are done. And I'm happy about that. It's the prep work. It's the prep work with my children. I'm looking at my, and just trying to navigate it all. So we're better, but
On some level.
but I'm telling you, not so much.
Yeah.
Because I walked into a store in my area and I thought to myself, man, black folks was the conversation last night. Because I walked in that store and I'm going to be honest, I hadn't felt like that since I was 12 years old. I'm going to be honest. Because I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I ain't easily offended. Me and God, we work this thing out. He gives us great strength and we just do it. But I walked in and I said, ooh, whoa. I felt it. I spoke to the one black sister in the store and she didn't speak. And I knew then, who knows, whatever. And I'll give it up. We had masks on, so maybe she could mumble it out or whatever. Say, hey, how you doing? I would speak. And man, when I tell you it was ice cold in there, I was like, let's get these groceries. Matter of fact, we might not even need to eat for the next 3 days. Because I felt I felt it. Like, ooh. I literally, when I got in my car, my daughter was in the car, and I was glad I didn't send her in the store. She's 14, and she's a cute little girl, green eyes, and tears started coming to my eyes. She said, you okay, Mom? I said, I'm not okay. And that's when I knew. I knew then, God, if you don't help us, we're in trouble. Absolutely. If you don't help us, I started crying. I could not move from the parking lot. I kid you not. This was just about a week and a half ago. And my daughter said, Mom, I said, I'm not okay. And it says, I just walked into the store because I needed for her to know what the experience was. Tears streaming out my face. And I says, baby, I do not want you guys to feel this. Like I felt like you're unwanted here. Like I felt it. And I thought to myself, this is not okay. And I had to gasp. And I just was like, whoa. Because I'm a spirit person and God is in me. I know it's not me. I just was like, I was like telling the guy, okay, I'll bag it. And the uncomfortableness. And I got in that car and we drove away and I was still getting my tears. And I needed for her to see it because it was real. And we were quiet for like the next 2 hours. So when you say you had this gut feeling, I know what gut feeling you have. I had the gut feeling like, God, if you don't help me use my influence, we're in trouble.
Even on this platform, because can you imagine what it feels like every single day as a child to understand that no matter what I do, it's never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be accepted. It doesn't matter if I graduate with a PhD, MHD, it doesn't matter. Because the bottom line is, if she goes for the job, she'll get it before me. Because as soon as I walk in, I'm judged based on my color, not on my character, not on my education, but on the fact that, well, no. Can you imagine what that feels like as a student? And I see it all the time at the schools, such a sense of hopelessness. And then the attitude becomes, I don't even care anymore. I'm just going to wild out, start doing whatever, because it makes no difference. They don't really care about us, And for me, going back to the school, it's, look, get more people in here that understand our culture, that can deal with our children on the level that we know. And I don't mean going in there whipping them and beating them. I'm just talking about the language that we can use with our kids, that they get it. It clicks with them. But when you talk about the students that I see walking around the halls, doing whatever, not caring, skipping school, because they feel like no matter what I do, it ain't gonna matter. I'm guilty by being black, driving while being black. That weight that's on you, and what we're saying now, get the foot off, get the knee off the neck. Let us breathe. We pay taxes too. We want our fair share. We want to be accepted. But even if we're not accepted by you, just recognize that, look, I worked hard for this. Why am I not granted the same privilege as she is or he is? It's such a sense of hopelessness when you look at the young people today involved in the drugs and all these other activities that they get into, because they just feel like, why bother? It ain't going to matter. My color already struck me out.
Yeah, I just think we have to rise up for just, and there's so many, I think as for me, it's a little overwhelming of like where to go and what, there's so many policies that need to be changed. There's so many, in the education system that needs to be changed. There needs to be changed within communication with our family and our friends. It's just, which direction do you go? And so for me, I would just encourage a white person to just use their voice and just don't be scared to just say something and get out of your comfort zone, because that's what I'm doing. I know it's in my heart, but like, you got to just speak up in that, even if it's so small, you just don't know how it's going to affect somebody else, or the littlest move can just make the biggest impact. And it can be very overwhelming, because I'm not a with all the politics, and I've even reached out to my friends who's have husbands as police officers, and I feel for them too. It's hard. Like, we don't know what we don't know, and when we're not behind the closed doors, we don't know. And so I think it's slightly overwhelming to people though, because there's so many different avenues and so many different point of views. And I think that's why, again, the change is just hashing it out. And we can walk away to agree to disagree, or we can walk away to keep making a plan and making another plan and keep making plans until we feel like we've created some kind of change, a connect. Yeah.
And so, on that, we are coming up to our ending time, but I always like for us to end on a thought of action. I believe that life is only as good as what we intend to do. Everything in this life must be intentional. Amy started the action by,
Someone's cheering you on.
oh, Candy.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
she said,
Go
yes,
ahead.
Amy, keep using your voice. You're small, but it's big. That's awesome. Love that. Yes. But what will you do? And I'll start off. What will I do from this point on? And for me, because I'm a little bit of a, not a little bit, so I got to not be shy. I'm a rebel because I'm ordained by God to speak that stuff that's just not good in the Black community. I do a lot of things that make people think differently. I'm an ordained licensed minister, pastor. I'm educated. A ministry that God's called me to is to those that don't look like us, is to the world system and atheists and agnostic, and that's how the Lord fared my life. So I'm very much about being structured and discipleship. And it's one thing, I love praise and worship, and they know, and maybe that's why God made me to be radical in my praise. But I was kind of like my white brothers and sisters. They don't take all that yelling and screaming. I didn't like it, growing up. I was like, oh, just embarrassed. I'm out of here,
Right.
way too much. I was like, and then one day I felt like, I was like, oh my God, this is spirit. I was like, this is not of God. I was like, I told somebody one day, I said, I don't want that Holy Ghost. I said, it is not good, and it makes you act up. And so I believe that we have to be action oriented. So for me, I will continue, like Dr. King and all those others, you have to make a conscious decision. I think when I saw George Floyd's death, I'm going to be honest, for me, psychologically, something happened for me. It made me, I have strong conviction in my faith in Jesus Christ. I have strong convictions about people being well from the inside out. But what it did for me is it made me decide to really do everything I know God's called me to do.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Whatever He's placed on your heart.
Whatever He's placed on my heart, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep making these connections, keep moving forward, keep having conversations, not here, but also with politicians. I'm going to be doing something with some politicians here soon, and let's talk about it with the purple cloth table. So for me, keep using my voice. What will you guys do?
So continue to make connections, continue reaching out, letting people know that if they or a desire to have these conversations, that I'm all on board. Dr. Lakita's all on board. If you want to start something in your own community, reach out to Dr. Lakita and I. We're more than happy to come and have those conversations. It's just one person at a time, and really the most important thing for me is to just show you the love of God. First of all, it makes all the difference. And let you know, I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm the woman that gets up every day like you, trying to figure out how to put my eyebrows on right, so that somebody told me I had them all looking like Etch-a-Sketch before. But I'm that woman, who sometimes the hair ain't right, got to go find something to throw it on. I'm a woman just like you, with all the same kind of craziness that goes on in a woman. So I think the more relatable we are to each other, the more we're in each other's face and have physical contact, the more comfortable you become with each other. So that when you do see that black person walking up, you don't have to take your person go like this. No, I promise you we're not going to jump you. So I mean, just continue these type of settings, and whatever you can do in your community, in your home, with your friends, and always speak up. Speak up when you see wrong. Had that other policeman and all the others that saw the atrocity that went on with George Floyd spoke up, hey man, what are you doing? Push him off. He would be alive today. But because nobody spoke up, he's dead. And many others are dead because no one had the courage to speak up. So, I commend you for speaking up, and I admire you for stepping out of your comfort zone. I really do. And continue to do it. You may not know where to start, but this is a start. And whatever God places in your heart to do, it's like, maybe I'll have like a little, barbecue or whatever. I know there's all this social distancing going on, but whatever it is you can do to make the difference, no matter how small it may seem, big things come out of small places. Uh-oh.
But a book. I think we live in a time where people like authenticity. But I just thought of a book title for you: The Day I Became Uncomfortable.
Oh, gotta write that down.
That's Amy's book.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
To work on my writing skills.
That's the business.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah. No, because see, let me tell you something. People will probably your white counterparts and your white friends will probably pick up your book first before they let you actually talk to them. But because you're serious about it, I just felt that the Spirit of the Lord just put that in my spirit. Because you're serious about it. If I was white and I didn't really want to hear Amy talking about it, oh my God, like really, Amy, stop it. We're not. I mean, everybody, we don't know what's really going on. But if I saw your book at Amazon, and I live next door, I would read it and let the words convict me. That's why I think the Word of God is so powerful. It saved a little crazy little black girl. I'm telling you, it really did. I was always smart, but when you don't know that you are, you start being dumb. I didn't know that I was smart. But the Lord, the Spirit of the Lord, I'm serious about discipleship. The Spirit of God taught me, but you're smart. But not so that you can use it to brag, but that you can let the world know, I'm in you. But I didn't know that I was smart. So when you don't know something, you will act the opposite way. But you showed us you're courageous. So guess what? You don't want to hear me talk about it verbally? Read my book. The day I became uncomfortable. I'm telling you, it's a bestseller. And just donate to our nonprofit. It's a bestseller already. And you know why? Because it's authentic. It's going to come from a place that's real. You're just going to pour your heart. I became uncomfortable about my white husband, my white children, my white neighbors and family came to me to a little black church, and we got uncomfortable together. Yeah. And that's really and you got people on Facebook. I know I got a lot of white friends, but all these new white friend requests, I know it's because of Amy. Kudos! Woo! Yes! No, but that's the start. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, I believe in everything of just putting one foot in front of the other. Keep making connections. Keep using your voice. I want my children to look at history books when they learn about this movement and they're being taught And they're going to go, what were you doing, Mom? What was I doing, Dad? What were we doing during this time? Because I look back in history books and I'm like, what were you doing? Like, I mean, I don't know enough about history. I'm going to keep learning. But I want my children to know that this mattered, and that they were part of this change in a small part. And we are a product of who we are, of who we look up to, and who we surround ourselves with. And I am one to just accept everyone's differences. We can still be different, but we can't. I'm not going to like you if you hate people, and I'm not going to like you if you. Yeah, there's just a right and a wrong, and I'm going to keep learning, and I'm going to keep listening, and I think challenging ourselves in the white culture to get outside of our comfort zones, just like you said. And I think really quick, the walking on eggshells part being white is like, if we want to do that, is it bad or is it shunned upon to reach out? Because that's the kind of controversy sometimes being white. We've been told, kind of the things I've been reading, is not to reach out to you because we need to do this work on our own. But the work from me just getting together and making this group was on my own.
Yeah.
It was just assisted and shared,
Yes.
and that's how we come together. But I think that's kind of the hard line to. So if anyone's watching that wants to do this and wants to be involved and wants to expose themselves in these uncomfortable conversations, how would you tell them to do that?
I say, be authentic. I think that, Amy started us off, reach out to her on Facebook and say, I would love to do one and to do what you're doing in my community. I would love to have it somewhere in my community, and keep having these conversations about uncomfortableness, and then what can we do as a community to action item the stuff. Like, maybe we have a movie night, so you get a chance to, and it is day and night. The cultures are very different, but there is a lot of similarities that we just do not know. Like, I learned so much from my ex-husband's mom. I mean, I was asked her all kind of questions and so forth, and she had it hard too as a white woman. She had got all of her inheritance, taken away because she was with a black person. So all of it, just the fact, and then one of them gave her a little bit of money because he just felt bad, but she really had to. And these are people that paid stuff to Stanford University, so it was a big deal, and she had to consciously in her head decide, I have to live out my truth. But she's still a real white woman, but she also knows the struggle of the other race. And she always used to tell me, I never make excuses for my children, and I won't let anybody make excuses for me.
Yeah.
I'm white, and ain't nothing I can do about that. So all I can say, but what she did do was she used her white privilege, and it opened up doors for hundreds of people in Tahoe. She always made sure that, and maybe because she had that first-hand experience, she's got little black kids running around, so it made her have a little bit of a difference, I say ask. Be authentic. And if you're truthful, allies, I'll be an ally. I know a lot of people, black, white. Let's just have the conversations. Let's do something.
Start the healing process.
And really heal.
You can change lives one brick at a time.
Thank you for both of you.
You're so
I
welcome.
appreciate
So,
you very
I mean,
much.
everybody is still on. You guys rock. Like, oh my God, like it's been seen. So love you guys. We had one more question. Yes.
To like piggyback on what you were saying as what you can do as in the white community. Okay. It just makes me think back into the slavery days where the white abolitionists helped some of the black slaves to escape. It starts as like little acts of kindness. I always remember that. I'm like, some of the slaves wouldn't have been free if it wasn't for some of the white women, the white wives, or the husbands that allowed the slaves to hide out, because it wasn't going to be able to be done with just, hiding out at another black family's house. So they could have got killed. some of them did if they were caught. So it's just like little acts of kindness and understanding that it's not white race or black race, it's a human race. We are all human. And yesterday we went to Juneteenth at Lake Merritt, Oakland, and I've been black my whole life. So this is the first time I've seen so many different, I saw white people, I saw Asian, I saw mixed race. They were partying with us. They were like invited to the barbecue is what I told my cousin. I was like, they were at the cookout with us. And it was just nice to see that finally, like the white people had on Black Lives Matter shirt. You get to see that we just wanted to dance, have fun, eat, party, live. Like that's all we did yesterday. And it was like no drama. It was just finally the first time in my life that I've seen everyone get along. Like everyone just wanted to just live. Everyone just wanted to get along. Everyone just wanted peace in this crazy epidemic that's going on, pandemic that's going on with the COVID and everything and social distancing. No one cared. It was probably, I would say, about 2,000 people there. In the section we were at. Imagine the whole lake is about 3 miles. So about each section is about 1,000 people of mixed races just partying and getting along. So it just starts with us as black people too. We have to just show them what we're different. Because I worked in Moraga where there were, I was the only one that looked like me. And I've overheard one of the clients, just an old client, like, it's really changed, especially the girl on the front desk. I was like, but after that, I stayed there for 4 years. They cried when I left. The patients cried, the people cried when I left. So I changed it. So you have to be the change. And also, it doesn't matter what color you are. You just, if you want to change, it's just just hi, how are you doing? How's your day? It's a little bit at a time.
Excited, and we wanted to kind of keep to our time, a little bit over time. It's been amazing. I would love to do it on some other levels and get our kids involved. Maybe the next time, maybe have my daughter to come and my son to come to just hear their viewpoint, because that's a whole nother. Yeah, maybe I'll get some of our cousins that are white to come down, and they'll probably be looking at everybody crazy, because when they're together, they really do not do a white-black thing. It's really, I do think it's how we teach our children. But their mom is very, her brother was black, which was like, so it's how you do it. It's how you do it, and it's how you got to fight against the spirit in all of us. Because at any given day, you could hate someone and not even know you hate them until you start opening up your mouth. The scripture says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Whatever you say, it's in your heart. If you tell me, I didn't think you could do that. Oh, I didn't mean to say it like that. No, you did. You did, and it's okay. I would rather that it comes out so we can cleanse it.
Yeah, absolutely.
With understanding. Yeah, just cleanse it. Don't say, oh, I didn't mean to say, oh, yeah, you did. So now that it's out, cleanse it. Man, I need to work on what's in my heart.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys who are still in uncomfortable conversations, hey, we're just some sister girls having a chat. I'm Lakita, this is Amy, this is Denise, and we're just coming together just to talk about something that's been going on a very, very long time. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you get conscious about what's happening inside of you, stuff can happen overnight. It starts with one person, one thing at a time, and we believe love conquers it all, but we can't just be talking about love. You got to be the demonstration of love. So I really believe that, and we know it. You know it when people love you. When you hug them, you feel the love, you feel the warmth, and when you love them, they will also feel it back. So we're out. We thank you guys so much for chiming in. Blessings to you. Thank you. Woohoo! We did it.